hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you click on the description at the bottom to make sure that you put on our mailing list so that you don't miss anything. Because, believe it or not, our show has now been demonetized on YouTube. Don't know why. Maybe because I said the wrong thing about the 2020 election, or maybe the wrong thing about the 2016 election, which I'm going to come to in a minute. Or maybe I said the wrong things about skepticism about whether or not we ought to lock down the economy because of COVID. I don't know. Or maybe it's because I'm the black face of white supremacy. All I know is that our YouTube channel has been demonetized. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of our videos, hit that link below and make sure you are put on our mailing list to make sure that you are apprised of all of our videos. Well, things can change, but after all has been said and done, it appears that Elon Musk is going to purchase Twitter after all at the price he initially offered, despite the allegation that he was handed a bill of goods because of all these bots, all these fake accounts. Apparently, the sale is going to go through at the originally intended price. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is great news. Why? Well, because I, among others, have always felt for a long time that we have been shafted, bottle-capped, suppressed, rejected. How do I know this? Well, after my election for governor ended on September 14 last year, I was a smidge under 1 million. And then little by little by little, I lose 200,000, 200, 300, 400, day after day after day after day, to the point where it got to about 970,000. Then Musk announces his intention to buy Twitter. Boom! 10 grand in one day. How can that happen? How can that be? Unless a whole bunch of people at Twitter suddenly decided that the algorithms that were suppressing conservative content need to be changed in order for them to keep their jobs. And then when Elon Musk said, well, I'm backing away from this because I believe you got way more than just 5% of your accounts fake, and appeared to try to get out of the sale, all of a sudden started losing and losing and losing again. And then I went on the Tim Pool podcast called Timcast. And I gained around 10,000 again in one day. A bunch of new people apparently found out who the great Eldersky is. And now if you go on Twitter, you'll see a little 1 and you see that number M. So now I'm at 1 million. In my humble opinion, I should have been at 1 million several years ago. And if I weren't being shafted because of my views, I'd be at 2 or 3 million. But then that's the conspiracy theory, isn't it? Now, if my voice sounds a little hoarse, it's because I've just recovered from COVID. Never had COVID before. My girlfriend, Nina, had COVID before they had the vaccine, and she was down for the count for almost 2 weeks. I mean, she had no energy. She didn't move. She didn't speak, although I did win every argument for 2 weeks. And I've had the double vax. I've had a boost. But I haven't gotten the last 2 or 3 boosts. And I contracted COVID. Don't know quite where I got it. All I know is that I felt lethargy. I felt fever every now and then, felt a little bit of chills, but that's about it. Never lost my sense of smell, never lost my sense of taste. But I tell you what I did get. I got a bodacious sore throat. I mean, to the point where it felt like knives when I was swallowing, like I was swallowing acid, like I was swallowing sand or something. It was really, really painful, to the point where one night I couldn't even sleep, because when you sleep, you swallow from time to time. And as soon as I swallowed, I woke up because it burned and burned and burned. My doctor and I did a video conference, and he told me that it's going to last maybe 2 or 3 days. It would go away. Mine lasted almost 4 days. It did not go away. It did not go away. I said, am I being punished for all the insults I've made of other people? I know I can get elder. I'll take away his ability to speak the way I did Muhammad Ali. And so finally it came back. But I called people and I said, give me some advice. And people said, well, use mouthwash. I didn't do any good. I used Theraflu. I did that, didn't do any good. And the doctor prescribed something, didn't do any good. Little by little by little, it went away. But out of all the symptoms, the only one that I found difficulty with was that one. And then when I mentioned it to some other people who had recovered from COVID, and I've talked to, 100, 200 people in the last couple of years in my capacity as a host who've had COVID. And nobody mentioned the throat thing. So then I mentioned to one of the guys I work with here at Epic Times, I said, Hal, when you had COVID, did you have a problem with your throat? Oh yeah, it was like swallowing knives. I said, you never told me. He said, you never asked. So Out of all the symptoms, that's the most brutal one. If you have any other comments on that, feel free to let us know. With the consumer price index increasing yet again, the stock market has been topsy-turvy. And what's our illustrious leader doing to quell the surge of inflation that's destroying American families? Oh yeah, spending more money and adding to the burden. Don't bury your head in the sand while your savings get decimated. Do something about it. Visit LarryForGold.com. Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on protecting your savings with gold in a tax-sheltered account. These are great people with almost 20 years experience converting IRAs and 401ks into precious metals IRAs. Don't allow the left to devalue your savings. Visit LarryForGold.com and claim your free, no-obligation info kit from Birch Gold. Again, you can own physical gold and silver in a tax-sheltered retirement account, and Birch Gold will help you do it. Birch Gold has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, countless 5-star reviews, and thousands of satisfied customers. Check them out right now. Visit LarryForGold.com and secure your future with gold. Do it today. Now let's turn to Hurricane Ian. The death toll has now reached over 100 and has caused over $100 billion in damage. And Kamala Harris apparently wants the aid to be doled out based upon the race of the victim. What?
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And so
the poor communities and communities of color. What if you're a wealthy person of color? Are you equally impacted? Notice how she pushed the two of them together. The disadvantaged community and people of color. Let's hear that again.
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color.
Lowest income communities and our communities of color. So no matter where you are, you're a rich person living somewhere in the suburbs with a $2-3 million house, you're equally affected because after all, you're a person of color.
That are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And so absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. And if we want people to be in an equal place, sometimes we have to take into account those disparities.
Not everybody has started out in the same place. We want people to be at the same place. We have taken what? In what society are people at the same space? In what society aren't there wealthy people and people who are less wealthy? What society has everybody on the same place? It's insulting. And believe me, this woman is going to run for president if Joe Biden does not run in 2024, and I don't believe he will. Now, Barack Obama says racism is fueling the Republican agenda to secure the border. Racism fueling the Republican agenda to secure the border. He was speaking at a meeting of Hispanic realtors in San Diego. And Obama said, and I'm quoting, "The biggest fuel behind the Republican agenda is related to immigration and the fear that somehow America's character is going to be changed if people of darker shades, there are too many of them here," end of quote. Be very interesting to have that Barack Obama speak with this Barack Obama.
And those who employ them disrespect the rule of law, and they are showing disregard for those who are following the law. In approaching immigration reform, I believe we must enact tough, practical reforms that ensure and promote the legal and orderly entry of immigrants into our country. We all agree on the need to better secure the border and to punish employers who choose to hire illegal immigrants. I continue to believe that we need stronger enforcement on the border and at the workplace. That means a workable, mandatory system that employers must use to verify the legality of their workers. So that's why we need to start by giving agencies charged with border security new technology, new facilities, and more people to stop, process, and deport illegal immigrants. Right now, we've got millions of illegal immigrants who live and work here without knowing their identity or background. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country.
What? Was Obama racist? 2005, 2006, 2007-ish when he made these comments? And now if you make comments like that, you're racist, but he wasn't when he made them? Again, the biggest fuel, says Obama recently, behind the Republican agenda is related to immigration and the fear that somehow America's character is going to be changed if people of darker colors, if there are too many of them here, end of quote. Please, Mr. Former President, say that to Myra Flores, the first Republican lawmaker to be elected to Congress in her area of South Texas in 150 years. And one of the issues was illegal immigration. News bulletin to former President Barack Obama: Hispanics don't want open borders any more than non-Hispanics want open borders. So you're saying that Hispanics are racist? Are you saying that you were racist when you had the same view the Republicans have right now today? I'm a little confused. Hope you enjoyed that video. The full show is available to watch right now on Epoch TV. Just click the link in the description below to learn more, because we've got a country to save.